Second half of the leaderboard as they get pushed down. I feel like not a lot of teams from the second half will be able to surprise us today. But the one thing they can do is prove to us, regardless of their situation, regardless of their position in that overall leaderboard on the final day of this grand finals, they will still give us their very best. 5 high-tier loot zones in the very first game and isolated. And as usual, 4 Kings Aces will take the best high-tier loot zone, which is the New Vision City. Estate to be conquered by the one and only NRX 420, who very quickly fly over Estate, not wanting to take that risky drop against a G11, D11 Kratos. And the boys of 420 instead drop on the outside perimeter of Estate. I understand why they pulled away, but I think they should have just gone in there for the hot drop because it's a high tier loot zone. The probability of you finding something good is still there for you, Neptune.
And there's several levels as well for S8 that they can take and probably get initial loots before they head out to practice range. Usually that is where they drop practice range. And that is one reason as well why they meet up with Vitas early into the game from the previous rounds and as well as the previous part of this competition. Because Vitas usually targets that Jackal, which is near practice range. But this time they took a different spot, but which is expected. It is NRX 432 taking that farm area as well as a butcher that can give them the initial loot that they need, especially the kinetic armor that they can use to arm themselves in there, prepared for battle. But how can that convert later on? Because we're expecting AJ, because a lot of things are in the line. The final circle of this first round might meet 12, if not 14 teams by that last phase.
NRX 432, they, as usual, try to loot up farm. But the one biggest difference this time around, I believe they haven't really gone in for the Butcher Slay just yet. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I missed that.
Jok did already.
Oh, Jok. No, too fast, man. This guy, Joko, is just a little bit too cool for the Butcher, managing to butcher him out of the round each and every single time they hop on into isolated. Big Bertha here, but nobody's touched Big Bertha in such a long time. She is pretty upset about it. This vehicle was brought in and it brought so much of excitement into the competition because of how tanky it is. And then after a slight nerf, nobody touches it anymore.
It's very slow for a vehicle. It can only ride 2 people in comfort. The rest will be in there out in the open. And you don't want that. You're already running slow. And then 2 of your members will be out in there as a target for everyone who can shoot them down. So I don't blame them if they don't want to take the Big Bertha. They will take the ORV, even the Antelope. And it's only 3 seated, but they have the firepower to get back against an enemy, a vehicle that might take them later on. And that is one thing that they need to consider as well. But I really love to see the gameplay. And probably it will be left until a buff will be done in there for the Big Bertha. But for now, for competition, I mean, that will be stuck in there. The oils might need to be changing afterwards, AJ.
Let's see if they can face the fury of AXP Kratos here. Vitality overall in the competition hasn't been as furious as Kratos, especially when it comes to the engagement capability. That being said, it's not like there's a lot of distance between their firepower and capability out there on the battlefield. So this is going to be quite the equal fight. It's all about who engages first and who has got that advantage, high ground advantage. Paul on for the peak, finds nobody because the players are all hidden away. But Matori, he exposes himself. Paul just a little bit too slow with his crosshair to drag it across him. Pixie open. But Paul, what are you doing, Phaeton? He triggered discipline here, and it's not triggered discipline by Paul. He's just a little too slow to drag his crosshair.
Yeah, probably it's a little bit of a caution. Even if he spots 1, he will not be making that hit. But no, a miss. SMR says hit. And there goes a good follow-up by Paul. And I think that's what he's waiting for. A non-moving or slow-moving target. And a pinch will be done by Vitality right now. 2 men down already for AXP.
Oh, Pixie taken out of the equation. Finally, Paul strikes Phaeton. And it's a good trade out by the players of Vitality. But Trevor now just behind Jesuo. Jack 12 for the win. Hits that beautiful rewind. Goes up another rewind class. And he quickly repositions. Paul, on the other hand, Trevor, fantastic attack with the AK-47. Final surviving member. Needs to recover a little bit of his armor and HP. One dog tag in hand, but he needs a few more. Players all being picked up. Vitality, it's all in the hands of Trevor. He finishes off all Paul just so that he can get yet another dog tag. And I don't know if this is the best of ideas because he could have taken a good attack against Breakdown and Shy. And Trevor does exactly that, shutting down Shy. Jesuo out there in the open field. As Void gets scanned in, he goes down. Good play by Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor just waiting in there, buying some time before getting in for the approach. And that is a good play indeed because they're still safe within the safe zone and a good chance for the dog tags to be scanned. But on the other side, not so lucky will be Blink Hiss. He is now turned into dog tags and they are battling once again their competition in this area. It is a team Dalvidas who have a great advantage of them apart from information that Meow will be getting, the firepower that the rest of the team has, and Reagan right now is being rushed by 3 members. Rotation really not working for NRX 420.
NRX 420 seems to be stuck in a little bit of a pickle here as Chibi goes down. Zeus with the backup. And I believe they have recovered the situation, but Dalvitas now just on the perimeter of this compound at Crash. Almost moving on in for that fight already. And one guy from 420 just sneaks on out, punished by Kuzma. That was unnecessary for Reagan. I don't know exactly what was on his mind. There was no backup given as well. And Kuzma now turned into a dog tag just to make the journey of NRX 420 a little bit more difficult. We will have to jump back in there and see exactly what happens to them later on. Riley Esports, one of the greatest threats for the Nomads as well as Vagabonds Esports out there on the battlefield. It looks like Nomads wants to deal with them quick before we get into that final circle.
The 3 teams in here will not be easy for the Nomads. They need to be a little bit cautious in their approach. Hack has been done in here against this team, thus pushing out Esser as well as the gunfire coming in from the Conquerors. But vehicle gameplay might provide them with an escape or probably an attack advantage. But Travis right now still on the hunt, trying to take down Riley Esports. And this is 2 against 4. No care in there for the lives of Vagabonds Nomads. What they want, what they care about is the kills that they can get from this engagement, AJ.
Travis backing away, but Esser loses his life. Good response by Riley Esports. Long-range engagement perfection as Travis recovers his armor very smartly behind those stools. He will be able to join back with the rest of his team members. Pogs right in front of him, and Riley disengages. They want nothing to do with the players of Nomads because of what they can do out there on the battlefield. So good engagement by Riley and a better decision overall as they disengage.
And Riley Esports right now, this is a smart move that they can do and they can do moving forward because they are not aiming just for Vagabonds Nomads. They're also aiming to take down the high ground against Vagabonds Esports, and they just need to wait for the 3rd phase for them to do that. That is where most of the challenge of Riley Esports comes against Vagabonds Esports. So thus, Vagabonds Esports certainly at some point move out of the high ground because of the challenge that Riley Esports has done. And this team of the Conquerors, hopefully we can see a little bit more of consistency from them. Though we saw them fight it off against Vagabonds Nomads, they back out from that fight because of the 2-team engagement that they might facing earlier in this game, and they need to focus on the objective. They need to get the upgrade because so far none of the teammates has already upgraded in this game.
Let's see if or not Sekre can do anything against Almighty Prime, as well as the players that are just beyond the vicinity here. Almighty Prime, they want to approach, but I believe they just got nerfed by Vagabonds Esports momentarily ago. And that one kill that was taken by Vagabonds Esports, I believe, was on the player of Prime. Negi shuts down Jabi from Wanted. SMRS perfection. But all the teams out there, I believe nobody's getting super aggressive. They're all trying to play this as slow as possible. And that's the kind of pace I like for the opener of our grand finals here, Neptune.
Yeah, it brings me on a lot of tactics. It needs to be tactical for this team. And though we're seeing a lot of dog tags, that is just a result of some engagement that has been too aggressive. But Clyde right now is in a good turnaround in there, despite of being pushed out from that ATV, was able to turn that ATV around and get away from the engagement. Now, AXP right now is in here just waiting for one of their teammates to come back. And this is the Four Kings, who might have a challenge against NRX 420, but NRX 420 don't want to be part of any of this engagement. Getting good position, and this will be a chance for Pabby to try to take down Instinct. And this is a battle of sniper versus sniper, AJ.
4K. 2 kills so far. Slow approach. They want to get into that final circle. Let's see if they can get across this battlefield, though. It is an opportunity for them to continue climbing up that leaderboard, as the Four Kings Aces started off horribly on day number 1, but day number 2 was fantastic. Ju, great engagement against Nyx, who hits that rewind, but runs straight into him right after that. Little unfortunate of a plan, wasn't it?
Both of them were a rewind, and it's just that Nyx moved in on a different location. Like, once you're a rewind, one thing that you can do is go to the opposite location wherein you are being gunned down. But Nyx didn't. He just turns around, get back to that left side or right side of where he was standing, and as Ju was just shooting and firing back at them, it will like eventually hit the fight.
It's an opportunity for Mystic to kind of like step it up a little bit more, but NRX 432 still facing a little bit of difficulty out there, finding their momentum. Rogue, the FHJ will connect, but so does the bullet from his opponent. Vagabond's Nomads drop down on the ground. Rogue loses his life, and this is a big fight for Mystic, but they're not handling the situation well at all. Right in front of them, AXP Eternals just going to town with everybody in this compound. Cookie has been spotted. Mizuki Cutie on the right-hand side flank. Kimmy running straight forward, doesn't notice that the players already backed away. Vagabond's Nomads trying their best to get away from the players of the Four Kings at the same time, as they're with the snowboard. One shot connects. Paul from Vitality gets taken down. It's NRX 420 doing some good work out there on the battlefield as well, but the Four Kings do not manage to catch up with Nomads, who slither away.
And it requires a lot of aggression for Four Kings to push Vagabond's Nomads out there with getaway coming from them. It's rare that we see Vagabond's Nomads to get away. It's only several instances when they know or probably sense that a top team, a big team who can take them down will be on that hill. And I think the battle will continue for the Four Kings right now, as earlier they met up already with Riley, was able to pick one out of this team. This time the rush is on, and Instinct will be taking lead with the smoke and the sniper, a good combination from a long to mid-range engagement.
Let's see how they can do with this mid-long engagement. Riley Esports now kill, just spotting him out at M4, not dealing a lot of damage, not a lot of mods on it as well. The one gun that he does pull out of his arsenal is the Jack 12, and as they move on forward, Negi up top, Samares does not connect, and Vagabond's Nomads still in the crosshairs of Four Kings. Nagy will try to take that vehicle out, gets a lucky hit onto Virus, but apart from that, nothing else. That SMRS is not going to connect. Nagy's just trying to play his best of luck against the players of Nomads.
And that's a good play, I would say, for Negi, because having a team right there that he can distract, he can push towards where teammates are, the follow through from teammates can be done. But unfortunately for them, Vagabond's Nomads took a hill, took cover behind that hill, thus the rest of the teams don't have a clear view of where they're heading or even a clear shot to take them down. So it's good play from both teams, tactical approach as we expected, AJ.
Esports, one dog tag, right back in the matchup already. Roll joins them, just with a secondary, fully smoked up. Look at the teamwork coming through from Riley. They smoke up the area just to allow their partner, who just made his way right back on the revival flight, to have enough of that ammunition to continue the battle. Kill This time around, Instinct finishes off Ha, and the players of Vitas being tortured by the Four Kings, who desperately want to continue climbing up the leaderboard. We've missed that engagement, but don't worry. I'm sure we'll find them somewhere in that final circle. The Four Kings aces approaching Jabi, the final surviving member out there on the battlefield for the Vitas. Let's see if he can pick up all of those dog tags. He desperately needs this, Neptune.
Yeah, I can feel how heavy Jabi is moving right now. Imagine on his arsenal, M4 LMG plus an SMRS, the movement will be hampered at this point. It's a good position that they'll have, but on top of him is a team of AXP. On the other side, bus station right now, 3 teams are meeting. It is a Conquerors, Vitality, as well as ABC Mystic. And from what happened from ABC Mystic earlier, it's a good thing that they were able to survive as well as recover the rest of the teams in here, and they can battle on. 12 teams remaining, and we are on the 4th phase, and this is what we're reading earlier. Because of how slow the engagements are, it will end by the 5th zone with a lot more of teams and a lot more of chaos, as well as kills might be taken for those with prime location, AJ.
Chaos it is, man. This compound is just way too crowded. Bus station, there is the bottom side of bus station. That is a tiny little maze that you can swoop around. Crayon finds Jesuo, who quickly sneaks back behind that box, and he doesn't get taken down, but off-screen, Maui does lose his life. Burn gets dropped as well, and Crayons, as the final survivor, needs to back away. No longer dog tags can be revived here, so he just needs to play the game of survival for himself, but Pogs finds him. Nomads puts the end to HGED11 Kratos. ENE, on the other hand, ENE Phoenix, so far, nothing much for them to shout about, but AXP Eternals. This is one of the teams that has been constantly climbing the leaderboard, but we talked about how their inability to secure placement points has affected them so far, Neptune. They need to make that adjustment right now.
And there's one reason why. As we saw earlier from the side of Mizukuri, we have this Sync in there who rushed them that quickly, rush 4 Kings that quickly, and the rest of the teams haven't been in there for the backup. SMRS will connect in there from Negi, and Mizukuri needs to armor up, but not only is the 4 Kings in there, it is Riley Esports also onto the side. So the moment that this battle continues or ends for the side of either team, there will be a surprise coming from a team behind, and it's Riley Esports. And as he gets in on to get away from the engagement, ENE Phoenix will be in there. So AXP not looking good for them, and this might be the end for this team, AJ.
How did Negi just miss Kimmy? Kimmy's just sticking to the very edge of the circle there, not doing much at all on the prone. I believe he was proning on a loot box, and the players of the 4 Kings just absolutely missing this guy. Game of survival is what we talked about them needing, but Kimmy finally loses his life as Kiel finds him. Vagabond, so he's bought. Jesuo taken out. They are going for the players of Vitality, whereas Riley Esports finds the 4 Kings, but they realize exactly why they've got the name of the Kings right there behind them. Oh, roll straight through Kiel, who re-engages momentarily before repositioning, and the 4 Kings have met their match out there on the battlefield. Riley really taking the fight up to them, but Kiel, as he shuts down Sekre as well, the players of VVV did manage to put up quite a bit of fight, and Kiel, as the final survivor now, just need, oh no, 2 survivors. Negi continues to bleed out, but there's no way he's gonna get to him to help him stand right back up here, Neptune.
Yeah, he's getting back in there and hiding, but the difference is he's bleeding out, and the rest of the team is just walking above him. And we are now left with 5 teams, 14 soldiers, and as we see right now, Vagabonds Esports, even as they are covered in smoke, they still have a good position to take down their brothers from above. But with this position right now being prime position, being taken by the Nomads, I don't think that will be a risk that will be taken by Vagabonds Esports. Thus, they try to challenge Almighty, who is on the other side as well, similar to the Nomads. Ral, not yet spotted. We'll have to see if someone will come and fetch him from behind that rock, because a lot of chaos is happening already on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, seems like Virus is very aware that Rold will be able to take that back step up against him as Blue gets dropped by Forking's kill. The guy's still alive and kicking and putting out so much of damage, but Yato finally ends him. Forking's taken out in the 5th spot. Nomads on the other hand. Finally, this is that engagement we were looking for inside of the final circle. It had to take a call out from the Mustachio out on broadcast to finally see this game of perfection. And Nomads taking the fight up against Vagabonds Esports. And I believe the little brothers will be able to get it done. Yes, they do get it done. Now, Almighty Prime on the other side of the hill. Fox slips on up, but he slips up overall because now Travis is the final player left here. Can he go in for the pickup? The players of Almighty Prime, a little bit too slow. Virus goes in for the engagement, drops Chase, but Dre finishes off Travis. Progs to be taken out as well. Down Virus. Can he infect Chibi? Doesn't find the player out at all. Chibi drops. Virus behind him, and Chibi's just praying and praying with a jack, but Virus circles around, and he now has got that high ground advantage. Squashes out Quasi. It is a 1v2 against Chibi and Dre. They are playing it smarter, and Chibi gets that backstab.
And there you have it. We have Almighty Prime starting this day off similar to what we've seen from day number 2. And this might be the chance for Almighty Prime to really put on all the fight that they have and also show us that they can take a spot against Vagabonds Nomads. It is only 13 points that they need to go and take that second spot by the start of this game. But pretty sure Vagabonds Nomads had a lot of points as well. So we'll have to see by the leaderboards later on if they were able to come up to that number 2 spot, AJ.
Almighty Prime. Fantastic approach towards that final circle. This time around, they had the game of numbers to play against Vagabonds Nomads. Valiant effort by the Nomads, but, you know, Virus just couldn't find the perfect solution to the double team by Dre and Chibi. I